Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we are looking at X-Men versus the Avengers 4-issue limited series number 1 from 1987 by Roger Stern with art by Marc Silvestri before his superstar stint on the X-Men. Perhaps this led to that. Anyway, fun comic. Can't wait to show it to you. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. This is such a classic, fun cover, X-Men versus the Avengers. I feel like this is like, they were coming out with like books on this like thicker paper, charging a little extra, and like doing miniseries to sort on these higher end paper to sort of justify a higher price tag, make a little more money, because maybe miniseries were a little less a tested quantity at this point. Like definitely, like I think Wolverine was the first miniseries for Marvel. I could be wrong about that. Don't kill me. But it's one of the earliest, and you know that was such a huge success that they started doing more and more. And I feel like around this time there was like either an X-Men, Fantastic Four, or Fantastic Four Avengers, maybe drawn by John Bogdanove or something like that. Anyway, let's look at this. I love this. This is classic. Like, you've got one side versus the other. Interesting to note, this is the era where Magneto is leading the X-Men. And he's got that fun costume, that purple costume, like leisure suit with a Liberace cape. I mean, Crimson Dynamo. This is very classic, like, superhero art from Marc Silvestri. This is, like, pretty early in his career for Marvel, I would say. I'm sure this is, like, following, like, his Revenge of the Living Monolith graphic novel that he illustrated. But interesting to note, he's, like, I guess a bodybuilder. He was working at a gym at the time, sitting at the front desk, drawing samples to send into Marvel, and finally broke in. I mean, you gotta love that. But the point I was trying to make is, like, I've always enjoyed his anatomy, so maybe that sort of, owes a lot to his knowledge and interest in physical fitness. How do you like that for, like, a rambling? I love this era of the Avengers. I forgot to point out, we've got some Alan Davis corner box heads here. Storm, Mohawk Storm, gorgeous, love it. Havoc, I love Havoc, especially the Neil Adams costume. I know it's over the top and ridiculous and looks like some sort of, God, what does that even look like? I can't even begin to describe it. Some sort of kitchen whisk or something. Anyway, and then Magneto. When, I feel like this is like when, he was definitely the OG Silver Fox, paving the way for the likes of, Anderson Cooper and George Clooney and Cable. Love Monica Rambeau. Like, what a huge missed opportunity, Marvel. I do not get what the frick your problem is. Like, you have got it so wrong and backwards. Here I go on a rat. You know what really grinds my gear is how Marvel tries to, like, do diversity, but they do it so wrong and, like, ham-fisted, if that's the right word, and just, like, in your face and just, like, backwards. It's like you have, like, the best Captain Marvel ever, and she's a black woman, Monica Rambeau, and you don't make her Captain Marvel. It just doesn't make sense. But I could go on and on. I always said Druid was such an interesting character because, like, he always had zero appeal for me, like some old man with a rim and a goatee. I mean, maybe he's changed my mind. In the comments, please change my mind. Why should I love Druid? I mean, he just, like, on one hand, did I say I love this roster of the Avengers? But it was so weird. Like, it had, like, Black Knight and Druid at the same time. So it was like, I mean, was Hawkeye there? Like, almost like a little King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I can't just get past this Marc Silvestri Captain Marvel. I think that's so beautiful. I love her in her all-white form. as she's turning her body into energy. It's always funny to look through these kinds of things too, because you know, you can tell like it's just what era it is. It's like that's when, you know, Thor was wearing this costume and he had a beard. You know, he's gone back and forth with the beard. She-Hulk looks freaking gorgeous. I'll take a Marc Silvestri She-Hulk, thank you. Oh, interesting to note too, and I think I glazed past the credit box, but Roger Stern writer, Stan Lee presenter. Let's not forget the head honcho. Anyway, Marc Silvestri penciler, Joseph Rubinstein inker, Joe Rosen letterer, Christy Shield colorist, Mark Grunwald and Ann Nesenti editors, Jim Shooter chief. So you've got a solid classic team going on here. And I have to say it's interesting that Roger Stern wrote this, because I feel like at the time, if it had an X in front of it, miniseries, one shot, annual, like Chris Claremont was writing it. So although Roger Stern was on the Avengers, and Roger Stern is like, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit, but he's like standing right beside the like of like Claremont and Byrne and those fellas. But how fun is this? I love it. And then what are the Russian superheroes? Darkstar, Ursa Major. I love it. See, and this is funny. I like, you know, you just don't see this kind of thing anymore, and I feel like that's kind of the fun of comic books. First of all, I love the Kmart like appearing regularly throughout this. Sound effects, question marks above their heads. I mean, it's just like fun storytelling devices. I would love to see the pencils for this. He's got such a great, like, loose energy and just, like, such a good draftsman. I have to say this is, like, before color coloring, but they were kind of upping the ante with what they could do as far as the, you know, quality of the printing and getting, you know, a little better range of color. And some of it actually looks pretty good. That's always funny, like, when a little character gets steps outside of a robot or something. I'm sure there's something wrong with it, but it's still funny to see, especially if you're expecting something big. I don't know, like whatever. It's a common joke, right? Love this. I love this. I love when characters are doing mundane things. Like, you can always, the X-Men are always at their best when they're like hanging out by a watering hole or playing baseball or something. And like, is it no wonder Marc Silvestri would go on for like a lengthy run on Wolverine? Like, his Wolverine is pretty freaking amazing. And look at that Havoc. Look at that physique. That is such a great shot right there. What a great panel. I'd love to own this page. That is so dope. And Storm looks gorgeous. I mean, I would be like, hello. I mean, I wonder how long it was after this that Mark took over the X-Men. Probably not long, because, wow, what a great, I mean, the Blackbird looks amazing. I love it. It is so cool. Wolverine in his great, my favorite brown and orange costume. It just looks so cool and classic and right. Very cool. This is what Tom Palmer, that kind of screen right there, would always do over John Buscema on the Avengers at this time. So it's kind of fun to see Joe Rubinstein use it here. Love it. Love shots like this, establishing shots, like great perspective. I mean, this is like the type of, you know, things, the type of panels that almost become invisible in a sense. It's like, it's so mundane. They're just sitting at a table having a meeting, but there's so much going on here. Like, they all have different body language. You know, She-Hulk's sort of in a relaxed pose, yet she has her arms folded. Captain Marvel sitting up straight, holding her, like, teacup. Thor, I don't know. But Dr. Druid has his, like, you know, pensive, like, stare going on. I mean, and the way Cap is sort of leaning over the table talking to them. I mean, that is so terrific. It's amazing. This is fun too. I love flashback panels like that, and that's such a great Magneto. See, I'm sorry, but like, as much as I didn't think I minded it at the time, and I guess it makes sense. Like, Magneto cannot be on the X-Men and go running around with his bucket head, terrorist helmet on, and being recognizable. Although, come on, but sometimes you need a brand image change, but that is just cool, is my point, and I love it. And well, that's why they had to change it, because it's like, that's like such a quintessential villain, such a great design. I have to say, Magneto does inspire artists. I see Jack Kirby's Magneto, I see John Byrne's Magneto, I see Jim Lee's Magneto. The art is just like, this is like such the best time for Marvel and super, like, that. This is pretty dated, obviously. I struggle with that, because I do think superhero costumes do look a little silly anymore. But I blame Bryan Singer for the X-Men movie. I blame Grant Morrison for the X-Men leather costumes. I think they, pretty much killed superhero costumes, and they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be held accountable. Anyway, love this lineup. Oh my god, could Rogue have any more white belts wrapped around her? That is really going for it. And I love this too. Like, this is like one of the things in comic books, and it's like funny. It's like, I think of movies like Watchmen, how they always said it was unfilmable for, whatever reason. And certain things that just look so cool in comic books, it's like, you wonder, how does that look in a movie? Like, because it almost looks like, like, and I love it, because it's like, I believe Neil Adams is the man to thank for that. But he's sort of like, it's almost like he's like resting at bay, but his power is sort of emanating, or just like, locked and loaded or whatever. Love it. Love Mohawk Storm. Just such a fun lineup. And Dazzler, I'm sorry. Dazzler's awesome. Screw you all. Great Wolverine there. Such a fun series. Oh my god. So much fun. So glad to share it with you guys. I forgot to point out that it's kind of a weak logo for such like an epic book, but oh well. There's a lot of space to fill, and it's not terrible, but I feel like I've seen better. Anyway, so much fun. I almost want to see this like colored modern Willy, because I feel like it would just like explode, because it's really pretty beautiful. Anyway, thanks for watching X-Men versus the Avengers #1. Roger Stern, Marc Silvestri, Joseph Rubinstein, all legends in the game. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Share my content, and I'll bring you some more soon. Thanks, guys.